You're learning filters. Filters, one concept I given yesterday. Suppose it is mail login.html. Username, password, submit button. Username, password, submit button. When you click submit button, mail login solid. It will receive username. It will receive password. It will check in the database. It will check in the database. If exist, here I'll forward to mail solid. Here some other code will be there. Else invalid username or password. Okay. Same style. One more. Something chart login. Username, password. Here also submit button. If we click, here chart login. .java. Username, password, received. It will check in the database. If exist, here chart solid. Chart solid.java. Here some other code. Else invalid username or password. Now here mail solid code and chart solid code complete different. It is not same. It is mail application, it is chart application. It is different, code will be there. But this login solid code is same code will be there. Only one word. Here URL pattern of mail solid, here URL pattern of chart solid. One word only different. This program. Here also only one word different. Form action equal to this solid URL pattern. Form action equal to this solid URL pattern. Okay. Now HTML leave it. Because this is Java class. The HTML whatever it may be. Now two solids, instead of two solids, one solid I want to write. Possible or not possible? I asked. Possible? What do you have to do? Mail login. Do get method. It's here. Do get how will write it password no confidential data no. Password will be there. Okay, you whatever you said is one do get method, one do post method you said. But Solid, okay, one Solid will write. But password is confidential data no. What is that? Separate table separate or different, whatever it may be, that is not considered. Here, Solid, one Solid I want to write. What is it? URL pattern, how will write? First, suppose one Solid will write. Request comes from this Solid. Request comes from this. How will understand? Request came from here or here. You cannot understand. No? After that, if from here comes, you have to forward here. Here comes, here forward. So, what we do? Web.xml also, what will configure? Suppose you observe one HTML I'll write, one HTML, two HTML place one HTML. What you can do? Here submit button place only mail. One more submit button chart. One submit button mail. One submit button chart. If we click any submit button, control comes here. If mail submit button clicked, forward to mail. Chart submit button clicked, forward to chart. Possible no? Now username will received, password received, submit button value also received. Get parameter which submit button clicked. Like that, possible. One way. One more way. One more way. You create two radio buttons. Mail, chart. Here mail, here chart. Type username, type password. If mail selected, mail radio button selected, forward to mail. Chart radio button selected, forward to chart. It is possible. But problem is, I'll explain. Now, what you can do, instead of writing two solids, one solid you can write. It is possible. Possible. But problem is, in future, one more service comes. Now present in our website, mail is there, chart is there. One more shopping also comes. One more movies comes. One more games comes. One more sports comes. One more news comes. Day by day, the website is updating. Many modules. Then what you have to do? Again, you have to write here two radio buttons you'll write. Mail, chart. One more comes, no? One more radio button you have to attach. Again here, if else if record, if mail solid, else if chart, again else if, like that. In future also, you have to modify the solid. But it is possible, but you need to modify solid in future if any other new service added. But if you use filter, no need of that one. Modification is not required. Possible. Dynamic dispatching concept, possible. This is static dispatching. That's what like that we have to do. But what exactly static dispatching, what exactly dynamic dispatching, if you understand, you will get a clarity. Present here, whichever you write, for that only forwarded. But here only suppose, here I don't write URL pattern. URL pattern only dynamically will pass. Then dynamic link, no? That is dynamic dispatching. Now, what will happen? URL pattern you will write here. Here URL pattern you have to write, that URL pattern only passed. But URL pattern only dynamically we can pass. How? With filter supports. How? I'll show you. First, this is static dispatching example. Write this one. These links are fixed or not? Can you change the links? No, it is static. Now write it. It is static dispatching example. First, you write the diagram. Static dispatching example. This one only, How to write with filter? I'll show you. Static dispatching example. Write this diagram. So here and here, it is fixed links. That's what it is called, static dispatching. Is it over? See, instead of writing two solids, I want to write one solid. That is possible. What we have to do? No need to write this one. No need to write this one. You write here only one more submit button. Okay. This submit button name is mail. This submit button name is chart. You can write. If we click on this submit button also, this solid executed. If we click on this submit button also, this solid executed. Which submit button clicked? We can find out like a get parameter, username, get parameter, password, like that, get parameter, submit button value. For both the submit button, you can write name one, value is different. Then which submit button clicked, that value comes. If that value is mail, forward to mail. If the value is chart, forward to chart. Like this, possible. One more way, here, create one radio button. Create one radio button, mail. Create one more radio button, chart. Mail, chart. You'll write. User will type username, password. You'll select mail. You'll click submit. Which radio button selected, we can receive. If mail radio button, forward to mail. Chart radio button, forward to chart. So like this possible. But what is the problem with this one is, in future, one more online shopping also added to this website. Then one more radio button you have to write, no? Here one more radio button you have to write. And again one more else if condition you have to write. In future one more comes, one more radio button, one more else if, one more radio button, one more else if. At last, every time you have to modify the solid. You are modifying solid means again you have to compile. But instead of this, filters. Filters is the best option for dynamic dispatching. How it is possible? See. Suppose what I'll do, see here. Now login.html on program. Login form. Here username, password, submit button, reset button. Username, password, submit, reset. You'll type username, you'll type password, you'll click submit button. Then here what I'll do, I'm directly passing the control to welcome solid. It is nothing but mail solid, equivalent to mail solid. Welcome solid .java. Here you'll type username, you'll type password. When you click submit button, welcome solid. Okay. Now in a web.xml, what I'll do, in a web.xml program, what I'll do, whenever request comes to welcome solid, divert the control to login solid. Like that I'll write. That in web.xml I'll write. Now, whenever request comes to welcome solid, divert the control to login filter. Now what I'll do, whenever request comes to welcome solid, I'll divert the control to login filter. So this code I'm writing in XML, not in a solid, not in HTML. I'll write here. Here login filter. It is login filter. Now actually see, observe, when you click on submit button, control comes to welcome solid. What I written here, whenever request comes to welcome solid, divert the control to login filter. Here control diverted. So actually request came to welcome solid. But what has happened now? Login filter executed. Login filter. This username password received here. Because that request only coming here, no? Can receive. Here. If exist, it will check in the database. It will check in the database. Now, this username password, it will check in the database. If exist, here I am not writing anything. Some code will be there. That code I'll explain. Here, what we'll do, we'll write some code. That code, it will check in the XML. Any other filter configured, other filter executed. If other filter is not configured, pass the control back to servlet. Pass the control back to servlet. Like this, we'll write. Then control comes to this program. Else, invalid username password. Now you observe here dotted lines I given, no, this is dynamic. Here when you click submit button, control comes to which solid? Welcome solid. Welcome solid. But welcome solid not executed. Here already I configured. Whenever request comes to welcome solid, divert the control to login filter. Control diverted. It comes. Here, this username password received. It will check in the database. Exist. Any other filter configured here, execute other filter. If not configured, from wherever control came, there only send. I'll write. Then it is came here, it will come back. Then it will display welcome username. Welcome username displayed. Now, you observe. Suppose it is login.html, mail login, it is mail solid, it is login filter. Suppose again one more, chart login.html. Here chart solid. Here what I'll do, whenever request comes to chart solid, divert the control to login filter. I'll write. Again from chart it comes here. It is executed. Again from wherever control came, there only send back. It comes to chart. In future, shopping application comes. Any changes required here? Any changes required? No. From wherever control come, there only it goes back. From mail solid came, it goes mail. Chart solid came, it goes chart. Shopping solid comes, it goes shopping. Here only this one, only that's it. No need to change the code. But there, if else, many times you are right. Here that is not required. Because of dynamic dispatching, this filter not only for this welcome solid, filter can be applied to mail solid, filter can be applied to chart solid, filter can be applied to shopping solid. But what we'll do in the XML will configure. So in future, in future, what will happen? One more. It is chart login. It is chart solid. From here, control comes here. I'll write here. Whenever control comes to chart solid, divert the control to login filter. From here, it comes here. Again, from here, it will come here. In future, one more service comes. One more HTML page. One more solid. From here, control comes here. Again, I'll write here. Divert the control back filter. Again, from filter back. Like this, n number of times dynamic. This is possible with filter. See, here. But what we have tried here, that is you will understand in the program. But this is called dynamic dispatch. Suppose you don't want, you can break. Just if you break here, that will be vanished. If you break the configuration, these links are broken. Anytime you can add, anytime you can remove. That is called dynamic dispatching. Right, this one. It is dynamic dispatching. Now, this login filter, is it specific to welcome solid? No. For any solid you can add. That is will configure in XML. Now, from login solid to solid, login filter to solid, login filter to HTML, links are not there. There is no link. You observe that URL pattern we are not writing. It is somewhat different. If you see program, you'll understand. After execution, what I'll do, I'll remove the link, I'll add the link. Then you'll understand how it is dynamic. Is it over? Say one more solid, suppose one more HTML you will add chart program. Now chart program. From this to this one, you can create link. But here you can configure whenever request comes to this one, divert the control to login filter. Again, come back. So like this, n number of times you can make it dynamic link. N number of times you can make it dynamic link. Now this filter not specific to this servlet. This filter can be applied to other servlet also. So actually this is a request, this is a response, in between filter inserted. So request, response, filter inserted in between. Now if I click on submit button, first of all request comes to servlet or filter? Servlet. Request comes to servlet. But is it servlet executed first or filter executed first? Filter executed. If it is validated, if it is username, password is there, then servlet executed. Otherwise, servlet is not executed. Okay. Now, if I break this configuration, if I remove configuration, these links are broken. Now, always welcome. That login, it doesn't check in a username, password in database. Always welcome displayed. Again, if you want to add, just configure, it will be added. So first of all, request coming to welcome servlet. But what control doing? It is redirecting to login servlet, login filter, and diverted to control to login filter. Login filter executed. After that, it will control come to welcome servlet. If username, password is there, it comes to welcome servlet. Otherwise, stop it here only. Okay, like this. Same. First filter executed or servlet executed? Filter executed. First request comes to servlet. Request comes to servlet. Control diverted to filter. Request comes to servlet only. Diverted to filter. In the filter, if it exists database in is there, back, then servlet executed. Otherwise, here only stop it. Now, this is dynamic link because this filter URL pattern we are not writing. That is how to write. You will see configuration. Okay. Now, this program will see. We have tried HTML, we have tried welcome solid, we have tried login filter, we have tried XML. XML automatically generated. Say file, new. Okay, first of all, about filters library, those all I didn't explain till. Now filters lifecycle, filter is different. Like filter lifecycle methods, all things we have. Now just write it. Next point. Already given yesterday, filter is an object that can be declaratively inserted in a container process. Filter provides the only mechanism by which we can plug in code between request and response. These all points I given. No? See, this filter, it is inserted in between login.html welcome solid. No, it is inserted. How it is inserted? With XML. Now, if with XML only inserted, okay, this filter inserted between login.html welcome solid with helping of XML. XML is called declaratively. Solid and filters are called programmatically. So declaratively inserted between request and response. Plug in code, plug out code. If you want to plug in, this one you can add. If you don't want, you can remove here. Then this is removed. You can plug in code. If you don't want, you can remove. You can plug out that type. Now, how to write filter program? Same like a servlet only. Filter same as servlet. Filter same as servlet. Filter same as servlet. Filters do not have main method because filter runs in server. Filters do not have main method because filter runs in server. Filter has lifecycle methods to run in server. Lifecycle methods of a filter. Lifecycle methods of a filter. Lifecycle methods of a filter. Is it over? Writing is over. Filters same as servlet. Filters do not have main method because filter runs in server. Filter has lifecycle methods to run in server. Lifecycle methods of a filter. What is the lifecycle methods of servlet? Init, service, destroy. But do get, do post methods, how it is called? From service only called. From lifecycle service calls, non-lifecycle service. Non-lifecycle service calls, do get, do post. It will check. Okay, like that. Here, not done. Init, do filter, destroy. Init, do filter, destroy. Same style. Init, do filter, destroy. Init service destroy. Here init do filter destroy. Init do filter destroy. Is it over? Init do filter destroy. There init service destroy. Init service destroy. Here init do filter destroy. So like this only write it. Same. So let's you study now like this only. You studied already. When init method called by web container, first request comes to a servlet. First request. Service method, every request. Destroy method, application undeployed or server shuts down. Okay. When first request comes, how many methods called? Two methods. So init and serve do filter here. There init service. When second request comes, here do filter. Third request, do filter. Fourth request, do filter. Last request, do filter. This is called whenever application undeployed or server shuts down. Same style, no change. Write that one. Init method is called by web container whenever first request comes to a filter. Init method is called by web container whenever first request comes to a filter. Do filter method is called by web container for every request. Destroy method is called by web container whenever filter instance is removed from web container. Init method is called by web container whenever first request comes to a filter. Do filter method is called by web container for every request. Destroy method is called by web container whenever filter instance is removed from web container. Filter instance is removed from web container whenever web application is undeployed from server or server shuts down. So same notes, no change. You observe. Whatever I given for solid, same style is there. See, life cycle methods of a filter: init, do filter, destroy. Init method is called by web container whenever first request comes to a filter. Do filter method is called by web container for every request. Destroy method is called by web container whenever filter instance is removed from web container. Filter instance is removed whenever application undeployed or server shuts down. So same notes is there, no solid type. Now, is it over? Next, all life cycle methods are the part of Jakarta.solid.filter interface. All lifecycle methods are the part of Jakarta.solid.filter interface. All lifecycle methods are the part of Jakarta.solid.filter interface. Lifecycle methods of a solid are the part of solid interface. But solid interface denoted in generic solid. Generic solid denoted in like that you have seen. Starting filter only they given. Now recently generic filter, HTTP filter also came. Previously there was no generic filter, HTTP filter, later introduced. Say Java P Jakarta dot solid dot filter. Here, no other method, only 3 methods are there. Oh, no done. Methods. Init, do filter, destroy. Here, 3 parameters. Filter chain. One more concept is there. Filter config, filter chain. With this only dynamic dispatching possible. Init, do filter, destroy. Say init, their solid config, here filter config, their service, solid request, solid response, here filter chain. With this only dynamic dispatching possible, destroy. Now, every solid must implement solid interface to derive life cycle. Then how many methods compulsory to override if you implement solid interface? 5 methods. But here how many methods compulsory? 1 method, because those are default. That later they changed. Java 8 feature is default methods in interface, concrete methods. Okay. Now, next write it. Every filter must implements Jakarta dot solid dot filter interface to derive life cycle. Every filter must implements Jakarta dot solid dot filter interface to derive life cycle methods. Every filter must implements Jakarta dot solid dot filter interface to derive life cycle methods. Is it completed? Here, say later generic filter came. Some other methods added. Say generic filter. Here get init parameter filter config related some init methods like this came. Later HTTP filter came. Say HTTP filter. But here do filter, here do filter. This lifecycle method, it is non-lifecycle method. Lifecycle method calls non-lifecycle method. Like that code written. Now, if you override this one also works. But here we don't have like a do get, do post the type. Do filter only is there. But these do filter, two are there. This is life cycle, this is non-life cycle. Now actually, we are not going to use generic filter. We are not going to use filter. HTTP filter we use. Then this method if you use, it is HTTP servlet request, no? With this servlet request also you can access. But here, whatever I given methods to you, this is servlet request. Here servlet request, no? But using servlet request, HTTP servlet request method not possible. But using HTTP servlet request method possible. That is the reason we'll prefer. Now just you write this one. Jakarta dot servlet dot filter inherited in Jakarta dot servlet dot generic filter. Jakarta dot servlet dot HTTP filter. Jakarta dot servlet dot filter. Jakarta dot servlet dot generic filter. Jakarta dot servlet dot HTTP filter. Now, instead of generics filter, we'll go for HTTP filter. If you use HTTP filter, HTTP specific services also you can use, common service also you can use. Okay. What are the methods I given here? Same methods are present here. But here one extra method introduced, that is HTTP servlet related. Do filter. Is it over? Now now write this one. Methods. It is a life cycle method. It is a non-life cycle method. Which is best one to override, life cycle or non-life cycle? Non-life cycle. But non-life cycle method not called by web container, no? Non-life cycle method called by life cycle. Life cycle called by web container. At last called. Okay. Same concept. Here, web container calls life cycle method. Here, web container calls life cycle method. Life cycle method calls non-life cycle method. Here, web container calls life cycle method. Life cycle method calls non-life cycle method. That's what we have to override non-life cycle method. Is it over? So web container calls this method. Okay. This method calls this method. This method, if you override, you can access HTTP servlet request also, servlet request also. HTTP servlet response also, servlet response also. That means HTTP specific services also you can access, and common service also you can access. Suppose session tracking required, you can. Session tracking HTTP specific service. I given already notes, generic solid versus HTTP solid while teaching starting basics, after basics only. Is it over? Now, as compared to service method, one additional parameter is there here. That is filter chain. This is only important in the filters, dynamic dispatching. I'll show you in the program. You'll understand. After program, I'll give a description. Now, what we have to do? Implement filter or extend generic filter or extend HTTP filter. Extend HTTP filter overriding non-life cycle method. One method compulsory. Remaining init, destroy, record, use. Otherwise, omit. Because those are default methods, no? Default method means concrete method or abstract method? Concrete method. Java 8 feature. Java 8. Okay. Now it is you observe here no method mandatory to override. These also concrete methods only observe. No method mandatory. But if you don't override any method, no error, no output. That means here freedom to select either life cycle or non-life cycle. But there is no other option, compulsory life cycle. But here two methods, any one you can select. There one method only you can write. Now, how to implement according to this diagram? First, here HTML. This HTML will send the request to welcome solid. We'll divert the control to filter. Now, file, new, dynamic web project. Suppose filters. Whatever you want, you can write. Next, generate XML, finish. Right click, new, HTML. Okay, login.html. You observe here, same login form you studied, no, like that only. Now form tag. Okay, first I'll give login form. Now form tag. In form tag, is it method post record or get record? Method equal to post. Data is confidential. Action equal to here. When you click on submit button, control comes to welcome solid URL pattern. We have to write, not filter. Okay. Welcome solid URL pattern. Something welcome. Next, username. Input type equal to text. Name equal to uname. These are already you studied. Password. Password. Okay. Submit button, reset button. Okay. This is HTML page. Write this page, this program. Now URL pattern of welcome solid. The welcome is URL pattern of welcome solid. Whenever submit button is clicked, URL pattern of welcome solid executed. What is uname and what is pivot? Request parameter names. What is username, password? Labels. What is welcome? URL pattern of solid. What is post? HTTP method. HTTP protocol method. Is it over? Say here we written HTML. When you click submit button, solid executed. If you click submit button, solid executed. Now solid program. Right click, new, solid. Package name, filters. Class name, welcome solid. Next, here, URL pattern, welcome. Okay. Next, which type of request coming? Post type, do post. Finish. Here, we are going to display just a welcome username. That's it. Okay. Now, first, retrieving parameter, string sc equal to request dot get parameter. Parameter name, uname. Okay. Now printing. Print writer pw equal to response dot get writer. Pw dot println. Welcome. After that, username. For this, if you want to add HTML, you can. Okay. Let this HTML added. Now you observe up to here, I'll execute. What will happen? See. Now, no validation, nothing. Okay. See, directly run as run on server. Save. Save. Now login.html. Now you'll enter username. You'll enter password. Now any username, any password. Welcome. Okay. Now in between, I want to add filter. Now any username, any password, always welcome it shows. Because this is only we written. We didn't write this one. Now this filter dynamically I'll insert between. That is dynamic dispatching. How will insert? With XML file will insert. So we have tried filter program. We have tried XML. With that we have to insert. Then what will happen? Validated. Now you observe any username, any password, anything, any password, always it shows welcome. Now this is request, this is request, this is response. In between, I'll insert filter. That is dynamic dispatching. That is, we'll see tomorrow. So actual concept tomorrow. This is nothing. This is already you studied. HTML already studied, XML solid already studied. Main concept tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow we'll see continuation. Online students, 1 minute, one by one, I'll clarify your doubts. Ravi Tota, hidden field. Hidden field already taught, no? With hidden field, you ask. Okay. Parvesh Gupta. Yeah, notes I'll upload in Google Classroom. Sheikh Shabaj. Filter methods. Just Java P command, if you type, you'll get it, no? Okay, here if it is there, I'll show you. These are filter methods. Balaji. In real time, HTML code will never insert in Solid. That's what JSP came. Dumne. That is problem is set attribute, get attribute, primitive type not supporting means maybe in your system are using Java 19. Which version you are using? Okay, next. Next. Anthony. Yeah. Created, destroyed if it is not coming because default method is there. That's what not coming. Default method not compulsory to override. No, that's what not coming. Chittaranjan. Yeah, present market little down. Okay, 1-2 months again it will be there. Bhuvaneshwar Rao. That maybe you change the browser. Roshan. Yeah. Tomorrow you'll understand. Tomorrow you'll get a more clarity. Himanshu. With advanced Java, you can develop project possible. Chittaranjan, I'm not getting your doubt. How to attend interview physically means attend. If your walk-ins are there, you have to attend. How to attend means I didn't understand what is your question. As a fresher, okay, MCA completed. Completed means you can attend. If you are pursuing means not possible. Parvesh, JSP, while teaching JSP, I'll explain. Banvar, yeah, CSS, JavaScript code files you can attach. In the same location you can place, you can attach. Dumne, yeah, 19 version, some issues are there. Otherwise, you use wrapper class, integer. It may works. Harshit, okay, become final year. Then you cannot attend interviews. But you can attend, but they'll ask certificate later. Banvar, advanced Java projects nowadays no one will consider. Frameworks project they'll consider if you want to include in resume. Frameworks knowledge required. We'll see continuation tomorrow.